The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Is brought to you by Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, providing first-class construction services on 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it. All right, time for the 10-minute drill as we explore the headlines from the sports world. All corners of said globe.
No stones unturned.
Beef will be our tour guide. Hello, Beef. Good
Hello.
morning.
Thanks for coming along. At the end of the 10-minute drill,
Okay.
We're going to hook up one lucky Guggen with our 10-minute drill prize pack. It's a $25 gift card to Scrubble's Car Wash and a pair of tickets to tomorrow's River City Wrestling Con at the fairgrounds. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, cool. Lots of good stuff. Sharks open this weekend.
Sharks open tomorrow night. I'll be down there with the Petite.
The Petite is just on the whirlwind tour right
He's
now.
having a
It's
hell
like
of a time.
Sports-a-palooza for the Petite, man.
Living the dream.
Iceman, and the shrimp, and
He's
the
loving it.
sharks. I mean, who's
Loving it.
Who needs a big city, Beef? You got it all right here.
We're in a great city.
All right, yeah, for sure.
Jeff, let's get it started with the NBA playoffs last night.
Okay.
A big one. Gross, hard to watch, but the Bucks get something they had to have.
Yeah, listen, they came out with a lot of intensity and energy. Giannis was about unstoppable unless he was taking a free or a three. I mean, for a super, has there been a worse free throw and three-point superstar than Giannis? I mean, he is such a one-trick pony. Now, that trick is awful powerful and hard to stop. But if you keep Giannis from driving and twirling into the lane, he's just a guy. I mean, free throw shooting's embarrassing. He got called on that 10-second one again yesterday, too. And that sums up what Beef just said. It was an ugly game. And they came out of the gates fast, Milwaukee did. They probably, what did they have, 30 first-quarter points, I bet?
Yeah, it was 30-11 after first. And like you said, Giannis, 14 of 31 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3, and just 4 of 9 from the line.
Got to stop shooting. And see, I hadn't even seen those stats.
He's awful from 3.
It's just watching the game. He's also awful from the free throw line. And so that should.
Yeah. On the season, he was 30% from 3 and just 68% from the line.
Why would you
Not
ever
good.
shoot a three if you're Giannis?
And both those numbers are way down in the postseason.
It's just that's their flaw. Their superstar can't. If he's not driving, he's not effective, and you can't drive all the time, especially late. They clog up that lane. But think about what he said, though. The Bucks scored 30 points in the first and 56 the rest of the way, including 4 in the last 10 seconds. So 52 points from the beginning of the second quarter until there was 10 seconds left to go in the game. That's miserably poor. Hard to watch. Hopefully you bailed on the game when it was 30-11, assuming it was over, because it got close. But last night was an example of just because a game gets close doesn't mean it gets good.
Golly, it was bad basketball.
But it was a win that the Bucks had to have. And I'll tell you one more summary of this game. It sums up how ugly it was. Here are the Nets, down 1, final seconds. They've got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, 2 of the best players in the game, and Bruce Brown drives the lane and shoots. Just stop it. This ain't the U, buddy. All right, we're not playing Maryland, who's not even in the ACC. We're not playing Virginia Tech there, Bruce. You know? You might want to dish to, I don't see Kevin Durant over there.
Durant.
He might be the best player in the league. You're a guy. I don't know why you're on the floor, actually. Get on the bench.
I look back to, I think it was 2016. I seem to remember Kyrie Irving hitting some big shots for
Sure.
the Cavs and went to a world title.
And listen, not that less heralded players sometimes either by design or they're forced to take that shot. You know, sometimes the star draws triple coverage and he dishes to the role player who's wide open and has got to hit the shot. Or maybe there's such a scramble that the role player is the only one left. Time is run out. He's got to give it up. No, not Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown took the ball from the hash mark on the right side, dribbled top of the key, through the lane, and challenged a 7-footer. And by the way, the challenge was nowhere close to being executed. So shame on Brooklyn to have a chance to end the series basically and go up 3-0 to not get the ball into their superstars' hands when it mattered.
How you feeling tonight? Your Birds are home now against the Sixers. 7:30 on ESPN, by the way. 1-1.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic that we can go 1-1 and get back to Philly at 2-2. Now, it's hard to imagine this defies your any experience you've had in common logic, but the Hawks are suddenly one of the toughest places for the other guys to win. I won't say it's the toughest place to play. I haven't been in the arena, since this change. But you noticed again, used to be the Knicks came to Atlanta, and it would be as many Knicks fans, and that was not the case. Atlanta showed up, and I think the Hawks have won 14, 15 home games in a row, the longest streak in the league. So I'd really like to get them to a quick start and win the game tonight and go up 2-1. I think they're going to win one of the two. I really do. I look, the fan in me wants to scream, yeah, we're upsetting them going all the way. But losing DeAndre Hunter was just such an important part, 15-5. Young only is, second year in the league he's putting up these kind of numbers. They'll miss him for the rest of the postseason, but there's still enough there. Hawks obviously didn't hit any shots on Sunday. Trae Young and Bogdan Bogdanovic have been awesome down the stretch and in the postseason, and they both had off games. They won't do that 2 games in a row. The fans will give them a lift. I really want to win tonight and then really have the Sixers' feet to the fire going into Game 4, which I assume will be on Sunday.
A lot of talk, Jeff, about the what seems like an inevitability now with the pending expansion of the college playoff to 12 teams.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it seems like it's
yeah, they're saying 2023 at the earliest. I wouldn't be surprised if they can twist the arms of their TV partners and get this thing going in 2020. Now, again, like most of big-time college football business, this is ripe with hypocrisy as they play the we're here for the little man card, but what they're really doing is spreading the wealth more among the lords of the manor. Look, we used to have a 4-team playoff, and it would be 4 Power 5 teams. All right? Well, guess what that means? At least one Power 5 conference isn't getting represented. Okay, that's no longer acceptable. The rich got to get richer, so we got to do something to fix that. We could go to 6, and that would give us the 5 Power 5s and then 1 at large. But that's not going to let the little guy in, per se. We want to get all the credit for being inclusive and allowing the little guy in, the non-Power 5. So if we add the non-Power 5, now where does Notre Dame go? How do they get in? So 6, that's not going to do it. Now, let's go to 12 where, the SEC could send 3 or 4 teams and make even more money. Let's go to 12 where – maybe Texas can make a playoff every 40 years if we go to 12. We got to get the big boys involved here. We got to get Michigan back on the bankroll. And so, a lot of this is not about competition. It's certainly not for you, the fan. It's to add more money the easiest way possible, but more on the kids. They couldn't play a week. These are college kids. They've got studies, and they're not professional athletes. They can't play an NFL schedule. Well, guess what? The college football champion in 2022 – at the earliest, 2023, I would think at the latest, is going to play 16, 17 games. So you can't play an NFL schedule until you can, I guess.
Well, like you said, you go back and look at the FCS teams, like pre-pandemic. I mean, North Dakota State 2 years ago played 16 games.
Well, part of it is you need to start that playoff earlier. It might be worth pushing pushing it back a week, the college football season, starting it in August again and playing through and being done by the middle of November so you can get into the postseason a little bit more quickly. Listen, this is great news for Dan Mullen's Gators, and I'll tell you exactly why on that coming up at 8 o'clock.
Jeff, the PGA Tour is up in South Carolina, home state of Dustin Johnson. He's one off the lead, but obviously the only 2 names anybody's been talking about are Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. Koepka said their beef is good for the game, but looking at the leaderboard, it's certainly not good for his game.
He's wrong. He's a jackass. You're a jackass, Brooks Koepka. It's not good for the game. And by the way, God's gift to golfing, just to ask him, was 1 over yesterday. So, I don't know, Brooks, if you had people following you around, calling you Bryson, and then had Bryson texting attaboy and sending him gifts. But it's not good. Look, I see what's happening here. Someone brought this up. It's a good point. Golf started this ridiculous social media drive, and the more clicks and hits you get, there's different ways to get clicks and hits, right, Beef?
100%.
Yeah, 2 different directions. You can go the positive route, or you can go the obnoxious, negative route, and that will get just as much viral sensation. And Koepka has chosen to bottom feed on this. And rather than just rely on his trophy case and his reputation and his skill, he's acting like a class bully with a Letterman's jacket, picking on the guy coming out of the science lab who, even though he's a good golfer, he's not me. And, again, God's gift to golf, just asking. Brooks Koepka 1 over yesterday. I don't know if he then blamed Bryson DeChambeau for that or made himself feel better by insulting DeChambeau after. Look, it's a leap to really come to the defense of Bryson DeChambeau. He's not the most liked guy on tour either. But the way that Koepka has handled this, and by the way, and I know there are those of you out there that disagree, and I get it, this isn't MMA. This is golf. You know, some sports are different and should be. It's a gentleman's game. Act like a gentleman. You can fake it for a few hours of your week. Just act like a gentleman. It's okay to have a gentleman's sport. Doesn't make it soft. Doesn't make you too easily offended if it bothers you. And this isn't just my opinion. Steve Stricker is the Ryder Cup captain. And he's going to have an American squad here in a few months that's going to be at Whistling Straits trying to beat the Europeans. And he's got one of his best players, Brooks Koepka, being a jackass all the time. More than and DeChambeau is, countered here and there, but he's not. He's new to this game. DeChambeau's a big dude, but he ain't a scrapper. You're not going to find Bryson DeChambeau in fights. That's just not his personality. And so he's trying to, play back, but it's just like, again, it's just untoward, I believe. Well, Steve Stricker is the Ryder Cup captain, and enough is enough with these idiots. Quote, it's not making my job any easier, He admitted he's been less than thrilled with the recent developments between these two teammates under the U.S. flag. I haven't talked to either one of them, Stricker said. I'll have to at some point. We'll see where it goes from there. Hopefully they can put their differences aside for the week, be big boys, and come together as a team. That's well said.
Hey, we'd be remiss if before we wrapped up the 10-minute drill if we didn't at least mention and shout out the Seminole softball team. Came up short, but hell of a run in the Women's College World Series. Lost yesterday in the afternoon Game 3, decisive 5-1. Oklahoma's the natty champ. Noles just short.
Oh yeah, Oklahoma is a
powerhouse.
Is a powerhouse, and they proved that in these last two games against the Ladies.
They're loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded.
Well, they set the all-time record for home runs, and they hit another couple last night that led to what turned out to be a pretty easy win. All right, come back on the other side. I got a football fix. At the end of that, you'll be able to get a 4-pack to the Sharks, the season opener. But right now, we continue with the giving mood.
Season of giving.
What do we got, B, for caller number 5?
Caller number 5, Jeff, right now. It's 641-1010. Going to take home today's 10-minute drill prize pack. They'll get $25 to get their car all spiffied up at Scrubbles Car Wash, and they'll get a pair of tickets to tomorrow's River City Wrestling Con down at the Jacksonville Fairgrounds. Just be caller number 5 right now, 641-1010.